Hello everyone, my name is Alexandra and today I'm going to be sharing with you the list of books I think everyone should read in their lifetime. I don't know about you, but ever since I started watching booktube videos back in like 2015, 2016, I always loved watching videos like this with books you need to read or books everyone needs to read in their lives. So I decided to do my version of it. And even though I feel like I haven't read a lot of books in my life, I compiled a list of 9 to share with you today. The book I'm going to be starting with today is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. This is a historical fiction novel set in Nazi Germany during the Second World War, and it follows Liesel, a little girl, as she lives under the harsh conditions caused by the war. While by her brother's graveside, she accidentally finds a book, that being her very first act of book thievery, and so begins her adventure and journey and love for words and literature, and through this love, she discovers the power of storytelling and the importance of storytelling in a time of great suffering and pain. I believe this is a book that everyone should read, even if you are not interested in history or not interested in the Second World War or any world war for that matter. But I just feel like this book is such an important read. And another thing that I really enjoyed about this book is that it is narrated by death. So if that doesn't make it at least a little bit interesting for you, I don't know what will. Okay, next on my list is a book that I think everyone has already read, but I'm going to include it anyways, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. If you have not read this book yet, it's the first in a trilogy, but if you haven't read at least the first book, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? I know maybe you've seen the movies because everyone and their mother has seen the movies, but read the books too. Also, I think I'm going to say this in every single video that I'm filming, but can we appreciate this amazing edition of The Hunger Games? I am not going to say what this book is about because I think that everyone already knows. I will mention that this is an important read, especially in our times, and that I do also have Sunrise on the Reaping on my shelves, but have I read it yet? No, unfortunately not.
Dishonor on you! Dishonor on your cow!
I don't know. I hope I will do it soon. I have been to the midnight release at Waterstones for that book, but oh well. The next book I think everyone should read in their lifetime is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This is a YA contemporary standalone with a focus on mental health, especially on OCD and anxiety, and it follows the story of two friends as they reconnect and they go on a quest to find a fugitive billionaire to win the prize of $100,000. I think I've read this back in like 2022 or something, so I don't remember all the details about the story. I've read this at a time in my life where anxiety and OCD were not as prevalent. And I'm so not necessarily annoyed. I wouldn't say annoyed. I mean, I'm glad that Alexandra back in 2022 was not as anxious as today's Alexandra, but I think I have to reread it in order to experience it with new eyes. I remember thinking at that time that this was a book with great representation for what OCD feels like and what anxiety feels like, and I think I should reread it soon. Also, if anyone is curious to know, I know John Green is really popular for The Fault in Our Stars, but if I had to pick one, The Fault in Our Stars or this one, not a question about it. The next book on my list is Cinderella is Dead by Kalynn Bayron. This is a YA fantasy set in a world where the story of Cinderella was taken more as a law rather than a mere fairy tale, and each year girls have to attend a ball and prepare themselves to be chosen as wives. If they do not comply with the law, or if they do not get picked at the ball, they will face severe consequences. But our main character, Sophia, does not want to get chosen by any man. she's in love with her best friend, and she also doesn't want to be treated like property. But when her night at a ball goes terribly wrong, she must run to survive. And thus she stumbles upon someone's grave, and there she finds a mysterious girl who might be able to help her change her world. I have to mention this is a standalone, a fantasy standalone, and for that bonus points, because I feel like you hardly find a fantasy standalone in our day and age. It also has great POC representation and queer representation, and I love the fact that it puts under question that idea of women being chosen by men. Okay, the next read I have on my list is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. This book, I kid you not, I know a lot of people either love it or hate it, but at least give it a try. Please give it a try. This is also a standalone adult novel that blends together elements of historical fiction, romance, and fantasy, and it starts out in France in the 1700s, following our main character Addie as she hastily makes a deal to live forever, but the catch is that she will be forgotten by everyone she ever meets. Thus begins her long journey of trying to make herself remembered through history until one day, 300 years later, when someone remembers her name. And let me share with you a few quotes from this book, because I feel like it is one of the most poetic and whimsical lyrical books I have ever read. I love this so much. What is a person if not the marks they leave behind? Yeah, I have a lot of annotations in this book. I don't think you can see them properly, but yeah. Another quote that I absolutely love: the first mark she left upon the world, long before she knew the truth, that ideas are so much wilder than memories, that they long and look for ways of taking root. Oh my god. And I am going to move on, because if I look more through this book, I'm going to start rereading it as I'm filming this video. Next up, we have Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I am currently rereading the series. I am rereading the third one in the trilogy. It is a trilogy. This is the first one. It's one of my all-time favorite series ever, and it is told in the most interesting— yeah, that's my boyfriend's bookmark, because I, as a great girlfriend that I am forcing him to read this book too. Okay, but it is told in the most interesting way ever. It's so engaging. It is a YA sci-fi novel taking place 500 years into the future as a little planet gets attacked by a mega corporation. Some people manage to escape on a few ships that were orbiting that little planet, and among these people are our main characters, Katie and Ezra, who had just broken up that exact morning. And on these ships, they soon find out three things. One, there's an assault fleet following them in hopes to liquidate them. Two, one of the ship's AI system is partially wrecked. And three, there's an emerging plague on one of the ships, mutating with horrendous results. That sounds like a great recipe for disaster, doesn't it? The next book on my list is Furthermore by Tahara Mafi. I know she is really well known for the Shatter Me series, and I read that series. I love it, one of my all-time favorites as well. But if you have read that series, give this one a try too. This is nothing like Shatter Me, but it does exhibit Tahara Mafi's lyrical, whimsical, and poetic writing style. It has vivid imagery and great characters. It is a middle grade fantasy inspired by Alice in Wonderland, and it is set in the world where magic is dictated by how colorful you are. Our main character, Alice, was born without color, and the only person that seemed to care about her, her father, disappeared without a trace. 3 years later, however, she decides that she will go find him and bring him back. But to do that, she has to venture into the land of Furthermore, where nothing is as it seems. Up can be down and left can be either right or very, very wrong. The next novel on my list is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is an adult contemporary novel with elements of historical fiction, and it tells the story of Monique Grant, an unknown reporter, as she gets picked by the Hollywood movie star Evelyn Hugo to tell her life story. In time, Evelyn talks about show business in the 80s, the 7 husbands she had along the way, platonic love, and forbidden love. Monique starts to feel close to her, but as the story nears its conclusion, it becomes apparent that their lives are intersected in terrible ways. This is another example of a novel where the writing style is phenomenal. It has snippets of, I don't think I can find one right now, but it has snippets of newspaper posts that show the power of media on celebrities' lives. And one of the things I loved about this book is that quote that's everywhere. I'm not going to say what quote it is because I feel like it is kind of a spoiler, but it is the last thing, if I remember correctly, the last thing that Evelyn ever says. Go ahead and read it to find out. Okay, and we are down to the very last book, which is Yellow Face by Rebecca F. Kuang. This is an adult contemporary novel about 2 writer friends, Athena and June. Athena is really successful while June is kind of a nobody who goes through failure after failure. But one night as they were hanging out, Athena suddenly dies in a freak accident, and June impulsively decides to steal Athena's manuscript about the contributions of Chinese laborers in World War I and decides to publish it as her own. She then tries to become as ethnically ambiguous as possible in order to gain support, telling herself that someone had to tell that story. It doesn't matter, it's her. Slowly but surely, however, evidence starts to emerge, threatening her stolen success. This is the only book I have read by Rebecca F. Kuang. I do have Babel on my physical TBR, and I have The Poppy War on my TBR, but this one, oh my god. This one was my first impression of her, and she did an amazing job with it. This book has such complex characters, especially June. She somehow does feel remorse for what she has done, but at the same time, she's trying continuously to tell herself and to convince herself that she had no other choice and that she's doing the right thing and that this was her only shot at being recognized for how talented she is. And I know that sounds like complete bullshit, but the way in which you read this story from her perspective, and she's trying to twist your mind into thinking that she's right, and you're like, yeah, maybe she's not wrong, but then you remember, oh my god, no, this is completely wrong. She's insane. I love this book, and I hope that if you read it, you will love it too. Okay, and that is it for today's video. If you have read any of the books I have mentioned, please let me know down below what you thought about them. And if you haven't, let me know which one you are really excited to read. I will see you soon in another video. Bye!